Hi guys, it's CalamitiesDawn here and welcome back to another Pokemon tier list. I know that everybody's probably over the tier lists at the minute, but I wanted to do some more. So I found after doing the last episode that there is an ultimate favorite Pokemon tier list, and I actually like this because it gives you all of the types, starters, gimmicks, legendaries, and then your favorites overall, and the very bottom one is your entire favorites for all of the generations, and it also locks them all to different generations. This one I don't think is going to be as bad as the favorite starter, but my favorite Pokemon from Gen 1 that is normal, it has to be Farfetch'd. Now, funny story, for anyone who is interested, Farfetch'd was the first Pokemon that I caught in, not the first Pokemon I caught in Pokemon Blue, but it was the one that I kept all the way until I finished Pokemon Blue. So Farfetch'd is my favorite for that reason. He was always in my party. I think I called him Fard. Don't ask me why it was Fard. It was just what I picked. Now, favorite fire type. When I was younger, I did pick Charmander, and Charmander was my starter. As I've gotten older, though, my preference has changed, and my favorite is Ninetales. No particular reason. I've just come to like Ninetales more. Water is automatically Slowpoke. I don't think there's anyone else here that fits that bill. Oh, no, actually, Seadra does. Never mind. Seadra is the one that I would pick. If I had a double option, actually, if I had a triple option, because I do have ones here that I do like. I do like the Poliwhirl line, and the other one would have been Cloyster, but we're gonna go with Seadra. Seadra was the one I probably would have used more often. Grass types, Bellsprout. Now that's probably very shocking to people, but Bellsprout was also one of those ones that I caught very early on. And it also is one of the very first ones that I caught in Heart Gold as well. So it has a special place in my heart for that. Electric. I would actually pick Voltorb, surprisingly. I never really had an interest in Magnemite or Magneton. I've never been really big into Pikachu at all. And the rest of them I didn't really bother with. I didn't start with the EV evolutions until I got older. So Voltorb it is. Ice. Ooh. It'd have to be Dugong. Has to be Dugong. I was like really obsessed with Dugong's evolutionary line as a child, and as I've gotten older, I'm not as obsessed now, but it would be my top pick for ice. Fighting. Funny thing is I didn't use the rest. I did use Poliwrath, but I only used Poliwrath for his water-based moves. I never used him for anything else. So I would have picked Primeape. Poison types, another one of those ones that's a very large selection. So we're going to go with Nidorina, because I would have used Nidoqueen a lot, because I didn't like Nidoking. And then I realized as I got older that having both is quite beneficial because they both have their own positives. Ground, I always had a Geodude with me. That would have to be. If I was to play any of these with a Gen 1 choice, Geodude's always the go-to. Flying, Hero. Psychic, that kicks me a bit because I would put Slowpoke, but no, we're putting Slowpoke. We're going to put Slowpoke there because I do love Slowpoke as a Pokemon. Bug type is another one where I actually have no idea what I would have picked. I don't think I ever did as a kid. I don't think I picked a bug type when I was younger, so I don't really have a preference over any of these guys. I like all of them in their own little way, but I think I will take Paris. Rock type in general would have to be Kabuto and Kabutops. I like Ammonite and Omastar, but Kabuto and Kabutops would have to be it. I know that there's Aerodactyl as well, but no. Ghost type. I never got Gengar because you can't trade. I couldn't trade as a kid, so I will just go with Ghastly. Dragon type, Dratini. I preferred Dratini over Dragonair and Dragonite. I don't know why. That was just my preference as a kid. Dark type. So we've got the missing numbers. I never got the missing numbers. So we're just going to put missing no. Steel, I'll pick Magnemite. Not that I ever used it for anything. Fairy type. Now this is funny because they weren't fairies in Gen 1. They were just normal type. But because they now classified as fairy, I actually probably would say Clefairy. Didn't like Jigglypuff much. Jigglypuff annoyed me. Starter would have to be, if we are doing younger me, it would be like Charmander and Charmander's entire line, but as an adult, it has to be Bulbasaur. Gimmick form. Okay. We have Mega Evolutions. We have Gigantamax as well. Ooh. Ooh, I am notorious for not liking megas very often. There's very few megas that I do like. So there's that. But I do like the Dynamax. And it would have to be G-Max Gengar. Legendary. I don't really have a favorite legendary from Gen 1. I never had one that I was really keen on. I mean, when I was younger, I was big into Mewtwo. As I've gotten older, though, I don't really have a particular preference, so any of them could fit. But because we have to pick one, I'm going to pick, as an adult, I'm going to pick Articuno. And favorite, above all, of every Pokemon that is on this pick, it is Slowpoke. Gen 2. So normal type Pokemon. I don't have a particular preference over any of them. But there is one that if I had to choose, it would be Teddiursa. Fire is automatically Cyndaquil. Sorry, not happening. Water is then also automatically Totodile. No, we won't do that because then I can't repick it again. So the other one that I would use would have been Corsola. Favorite grass type. I don't have a favorite between any of these at all. I mean, technically Celebi is a mythic. So I'll put Celebi in grass because I do love Celebi. And Celebi won't be considered in the legend form. Legends tab, I don't think. Oh, no, it is. That's fine. I have another Pokemon for there. It's fine. Electric. Mareep. Ice. Swinub. Fighting. Tyrogue. Poison type. Spinarak. Ground type. Ooh, this is tough because I would either have picked Fanfi or I would have picked Larvitar. I'm going to go with Fanfi. Flying. That's another one where it's very iffy because it's like I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb here and I'm gonna use Ho-Oh. Because Ho-Oh is not my favorite legendary from Gen 2, but it is the the box art legendary that I will go for. It would be Ho-Oh. So psychic types. I'm gonna say the unknown. I don't have a particular unknown that I would use. I'm just gonna chuck an unknown in, but I would have used unknown for psychic if I had to have a psychic Pokemon. Bug type. This makes it hard because I like having Spinarak, and I probably would pick Spinarak again, but I will go with Yanma because I also like Yanma. Rock type. Sudowoodo would be the one that I picked because normally when you have to fight a Sudowoodo and you get to catch it, that's what I would do. Ghost is Mischievous because it's the only ghost added. Dragon type is Kingdra. Dark type would be Umbreon. I would have picked Tyranitar, but I had a big fascination with Umbreon. Steel type. Skarmory. I bet a lot of people would have thought I'd pick Steelix, but no. Fairy type. Marill. My favorite starter, I'm going to have to put Cyndaquil, and I'm going to have to change here because, this makes it hard because I don't like any of the other. I'll put Entei. My favorite starter overall is Cyndaquil. That's just it. My favorite gimmick, I don't like any of them. I don't like any of them. I really don't. But it would have to be Mega Tyranitar. My favorite legendary is Suicune. And to link back to why Celebi and Teddiursa are so important, so the first and only ever Pokemon movie I ever watched was Pokemon Forever. And in Pokemon Forever, Teddiursa's in there, Celebi's in there, and Suicune's in there. And that is where my favorites have come from. This is going to be hard because I personally in my own life, when I choose my favorites, I choose them based on category. Whereas in this, it's like, okay, now you have to pick an overall favorite. And I absolutely really love Cyndaquil, but I think my love for Suicune is higher. Gen 3. I never played a Gen 3 game until Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. That was the first time I ever played a Gen 3. So I played Pokemon Blue, then I played Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and then for Gen 3 I played Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. So I've kind of done things in a really odd way. But the normal for Gen 3 is Spinder. I just really like Spinder. Favorite fire type. Besides Torchic, there really isn't at this point. I really preferred Blaziken, but this is very difficult. Very difficult. All right, so I thought this one would have been really odd to pick because, I didn't really know which one I would have used. But I remember, as I went and had a little break, I remembered that I actually had Torkoal. Water. Spheal. Sorry, it's Spheal all the way. My favorite grass type. I wouldn't say I had like a favorite at this time, but I'm going to have to put Trico. Trico's pretty cool. Electric. I actually liked Minun more than I liked Plusle. Ice. Ooh, this is annoying because I can't go over Snorunt. Fighting. Makuhita, because I would use Medicham for Psychic. Poison. Viper. Ground. Trapinch. Flying. Oh, they've got Shadow Lugia. I know of Shadow Lugia, but I never actually had Shadow Lugia, so we're just going to ignore that. Wingull, actually. I probably would have picked Wingull. I was very basic as a child. I didn't have a whole set of Pokemon that I do things with. Now, this is where I would pick Metatype. I actually wouldn't pick Latios or Latias. I just wasn't interested in them. So, favorite bug type? Dustox. Rock would be, surprisingly, Relicanth. My favorite ghost type in this generation was Bennett. Bennett was my favorite. Dragon type, I was a big Bagon player. Favorite dark type, I'm going to go Sableye, because as younger me would have picked Sableye over Carvana, and as I got older I would have had Carvana as my choice. Now, this is where it's iffy because I actually like Aron and I like Beldum, but I prefer Metagross, so I'm going to pick Beldum. Actually, no, we're going to just pick Metagross because I like Metagross. Favorite fairy type? It would have had to have been Azurill. Favorite starter? I would have picked Torchic. Favorite gimmick? Now, as I said, I'm not big on Megas, so I would have picked Shadow Lugia. Favorite legendary out of all of them? I am not very bothered with the Reggie trio. They're pretty cool, but not my thing. Once again, Latios and Latias aren't really the key thing for me. My box art legendary that I would have picked would have been Kyogre, but I'm not going with Kyogre today. I'm not going with Groudon. I don't have any interest. Deoxys, I'm not interested in any of its forms. Jirachi's cool, but not my thing either. Shadow Lugia is cool, but Rayquaza would be my favorite pick, and my favorite Pokemon from Gen 3, Bennett. Gen 4. Now, Gen 4 is one of the ones that I actually did play before the remakes come out, because the remakes only came out not that long ago. But I actually very much liked Diamond, and then I played Platinum a lot later, and definitively Platinum's better. Diamond is just difficult, because there's so many things that they didn't have in it, and then Platinum just rectified all those problems. So at heart, I am a Diamond girly. I very much like having my Dialga, but if I was to pick the definitive version, I think most people would pick Platinum, and that's the same with me. My favorite normal type for Gen 4, I don't know. I actually don't. I don't have like a favorite out of all these guys. I am probably going to click Glameow because I liked having Purgly in my party. Favorite fire type. Now, I'm not going to put Chimchar because Chimchar is my favorite starter. So I never really had Magmortar because I didn't trade. And Magmortar was like a trade Pokemon, so that didn't work. So I'd have to go with Heatran because that's the only other option I have in that section. Favorite water type Pokemon. It'd have to be Boizel. I like Boizel. Favorite grass? Leafeon. There's just no, like, I love Turtwig and Turtwig's evolution, but I love Leafeon more. I just fell in love with Leafeon. Favorite electric? I don't like Rotom. I'm not big on Shinx. I don't really care for Pachirisu. Once again, I didn't know Electivire was a thing because I couldn't trade. I'm not interested in the Pika clones most of the time. Most of the Pika clones are a no-go, and I'm not interested in Pichu in general. So Magnezone would have been my pick. Ice type. I'm tempted to go Glaceon, but I very much prefer Frostlass as a Pokemon in general. Frostlass is one of those ones I very much like. Favorite fighting? I'm gonna have to go with Riolu or Riolu. I have to go with Riolu. My favorite poison type? Scropy, just because I like Drapion. My favorite ground type Pokemon. I don't know if I had a favorite. Oh, yes, I did, but this one's Dragon. This one's for my Dragon pick. So favorite ground type. If we're going with my pick now, it would have to be Rhyperior, but as a child, it would have been Hippowdon. Favorite flying. So if we did flying, it would have been Staraptor. I would have grabbed Starly just to have Staraptor later on. My favorite psychic. To be honest, I don't really have a favorite psychic, but I actually would have played with Bronzong quite a bit. My favorite bug type. is Yanmega. The rest of them I'm not keen on. My favorite rock type is Cranidos, actually. My favorite ghost type from this generation is Drifloon. I love to have... I like Drifloon and I like Driftbloom, but Drifloon's my favorite. My favorite dragon type is Garchomp. I have to. My favorite dark type here actually is Spiritomb, surprisingly. My favorite steel type is Dialga. My favorite fairy type, I would have to go Togekiss, even though I don't like Togekiss, but I gotta pick one. My favorite starter is Chimchar. And my favorite gimmick form. As I said, I don't really like Megas, but I actually like Mega Frostlass's design. My favorite legend is Giratina. I don't have a preference between Giratina in origin form. I just like Giratina in general, so we're going to go with Giratina. My favorite overall, I'm going to have to go Drifloon. Black and White. Now, for Black and White, I actually picked White because I wanted Zekrom. I've not ever really been big on Reshiram, so that's not a thing. And I never played Black and White 2. My favorite normal type. Okay, I don't know why that's there. To be honest, I actually don't have one, but it would have to go Lillipup if I have to pick one. My favorite fire type. Love Esther. My favorite water type is... Normally, I would put Oshawott because I'm going to have Oshawott as my favorite starter. I can't. I don't know who I would put on my team then. I did have a Panpour when I played White, so I will stick with Panpour. My favorite grass type is Sewaddle. Sweedle. I don't know how we want to pronounce that, but it is what it is. My favorite is Blitzel. There's no denying that one. It is a Vanillite for ice. Electric and ice were very quick ones to pick. Fighting type was Scraggy. These ones will be a bit quicker because I had favorites for all of them. Trubbish. Ground type was Sandile. Flying was Archon. Psychic was Gothorita or Duosion. It depends. I would get Gothorita or I would get Solosis. It just depended on either, but I'm going with my favorite bug type. I can't do over, so I'm going to pick Venipede. My favorite rock type is Dwebble. My favorite ghost type is Yamask. My favorite dragon type is Dino. I do like Axew's line as well, and I do like Druddigan, but I personally am a Dino fan. My favorite dark type, Pawniard. My favorite steel type would have to be the Clink line. My favorite fairy would be... I like Cottony. And I like Whimsicott, but I actually prefer Cottony as just Cottony. I'm not big on Whimsicott. So my favorite starter is Oshawott. And in entirety, I like all of Oshawott's line. My favorite gimmick form. I don't have a favorite. I think if I had to pick one, Mega Scoliopede would have to be the one I'd pick. My favorite legendary from all of this. Because I like majority of them, I'm just going to go with the basic option and just pick Zekrom. My favorite Pokemon out of the entirety of Gen 5, though. Oshawott. I think we'll come to find here that I don't really have a favorite legendary other than Suicune.